Color guard, Hudson, Hunt. The right shoulder, arms. Present, arms. Order, arms. Color guard, parade, rest.
Good morning and welcome to all of you, those who are here in person on this less than spectacular weather day, and those who are watching from home. My name is Reverend Dr. Christy Coburn, and I am both the chaplain and the commander for the Abington American Legion Louis V. Dorsey Post 112. On behalf of our town veterans agent, Adam Gunn, and the commanders of Abington's other veterans organizations, Brian Martin from the Veterans of Foreign War, and John Beadle from the United States Veterans Vietnam Era Richard A. Fitz chapter, I extend a warm welcome to all of you who are here today in person and those watching at home. We thank you for taking time this Memorial Day to remember and honor our war dead. I have a few people to publicly thank for helping to make today happen. Thank you to Cullivan Landscape Construction, who voluntarily took care of the Veterans Lot this year for today's ceremony. Thank you also to John Burnett and his crew from Arrowwood Landscape, who maintain the lot throughout the year. Thank you to the Scouts of Troop 41 under the leadership of Chris Schultz, Aaron Christian, Jim Greeno, and Mark McGuire, who placed flags at the graves of all veterans here in the cemetery. Thank you to Calvin and Brian Franey, who replaced all the flags on our Gold Star street signs in town. Thank you to Abington Cam and Kevin Tachi, who make sure this ceremony is broadcast on our local cable access. Thank you to the color guards you see behind me from our 3 veterans posts here in town. Thank you to Wally Cunningham, who will be playing taps for us today. Thank you to the Abington High School Marching Band for sharing music with us today. Thank you to Yaz and her staff from Yaz's Table, who provide coffee and treats for us today. Thank you to Ken Coburn, who will be tolling the bell for our war dead today. I'd also like to thank our police chief and our fire chief for being here in uniform, bringing regards from their departments. Gentlemen, thank you. It means a lot to us. I'd also like to thank the leaders of our town and our communities who are here today to support us. Again, it means so much. As you can see, although you may only hear my voice today, this ceremony is a huge collaboration between a number of people and groups in town for whom we are so deeply grateful. But the most important people we speak to today, the people for whom we truly lead this ceremony, is our Gold Star families. There is never enough we can do or say to bring you peace and comfort, but we hope today will be a small measure. Your presence here with us as we remember and honor the lives and deaths of your loved ones means more than you can ever know. While today is Memorial Day for us, we know that every day is Memorial Day for you. Please know that you have our gratitude, our support, and our love, always. Now, I have a brief note to share regarding this Veterans Cemetery lot. After thoughtful consideration and conversation between the American Legion and VFW Cemetery Committee and the Mt Vernon Cemetery Board of Trustees, a decision has been made to remove the shrubs you see here. This change will help make the ongoing care and maintenance of the area more manageable, allowing us to better preserve the beauty and dignity of this sacred space. We recognize that visits to this veterans lot are deeply personal and emotional moments for the families and friends who come here to remember and honor loved ones. We hold that understanding with great care. This ground is sacred, and as these changes are made, every effort will be taken to ensure that the veterans lot continues to reflect the respect, beauty, and reverence worthy of those who rest here and those who come to remember them. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or Ken. And if you'd like to have the shrub behind your loved one's grave, also reach out to us so it can be properly rehomed. Thank you so much for your understanding. Now, I invite you to join with me in prayer. God of peace and love, today we remember and give thanks for our friends and family from Abington who gave their lives in the service of our country. When the need was greatest, they stepped forward to defend our freedom. O God, you yourself have taught us that no love is greater than that which gives itself for another. These honored dead gave the most precious gift they had, life itself. Help us to honor their memory by caring for their family members, by ensuring that their wounded comrades are properly cared for, and by being watchful caretakers of the freedoms for which they gave their lives. Never let us forget those who paid so terrible a price to ensure that freedom would be our legacy. In the name of peace, let us join together and say, Amen. I find each year as I stand before you, an easy topic to speak to you about is the advertising on TV about Memorial Day. Usually because it aggravates me, and I know it aggravates you too. We hear things like big Memorial Day sale or holiday blowout, as if this is simply a holiday, or Memorial Day savings. I can feel my face getting hot, my stomach turning, and my heart aching every time I hear such disrespectful language. Listening to these advertisements invites people to feel as though this sacred day of remembrance has been reduced to mattresses, appliances, and bargains. So at the risk of being redundant this year, I will mention a new one, because every year the advertisers seem to top themselves. The line this year that had me shaking my head was Memorial Day savings. I heard the term and began to wonder what was actually saved because of the sacrifices we remember today. I can assure you it was not money on a new dishwasher. What has been saved through the courage of those who gave their lives in service to our nation is something far more profound. These brave souls saved our freedom. They saved our freedom to gather openly in places like this. They saved the freedom to speak our minds. They saved our freedom to worship according to our conscience. They saved our freedom to vote. They saved our freedom to lovingly disagree. They saved our freedom to dream. They saved our freedom to build lives in safety. They saved the freedom for our children to grow up with possibilities before them. They saved our freedom to hope for a better tomorrow. Every single name etched on every single monument is worthy of our gratitude for these savings. And don't forget, every single name etched on every single monument is a human being. Someone who laughed with friends, teased siblings, loved their parents and spouses, planned a future, loved deeply, and was loved deeply in return. Every single one of these simple, humble human beings saved us from tyranny, oppression, and lawlessness. Memorial Day calls us not simply to honor military service, but to remember real people who paid the highest price. Maybe they didn't all think alike or pray alike or come from the same walks of life, but yet together they carried the burden of defending this nation and saving us from loss of freedom. And of course, if we remember them, those who fought and died to save our freedom, we must also remember their families and friends. For every service member who died, there were parents who received unbearable news, spouses who faced an empty chair at the table, children who grew up carrying memories or sometimes only stories of a parent they lost too soon, brothers, sisters, friends, communities whose lives were changed forever. The cost of saving freedom extends far beyond the battlefield, and that is why this day, Memorial Day, matters so much. In a fast-moving world filled with noise, distraction, and division, this day asks us to pause, to remember, to cry, to hug, and to love, and to give thanks for the many ordinary blessings of our lives that were saved through extraordinary sacrifice. Hold that thought. But remembrance alone is never enough to show gratitude for these savings. The greatest way we honor those who died and their families and friends is not through ceremonies or speeches, but through the way we live. Because we bear some responsibility for what was saved for us. We honor the war dead when we strengthen our communities, when we care for one another, when we participate thoughtfully in civic life, and when we work toward a country worthy of their sacrifice. So yes, there may still be Memorial Day savings advertised this weekend, but perhaps this year we can hear those words differently, not as a promotion, but as a reminder. What was saved for us was liberty, freedom, and justice. What was saved was the chance to keep building a more compassionate nation. And for all those who gave their lives, and for all the families who continue to carry that sacrifice, we remember with gratitude today. We will hold you all in our hearts and in our prayers and in our love. Amen. There are over 1.3 million reasons for you to take time to give thanks for your freedom today. Since the American Revolution, there have been over 1.3 million people who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom, including 15 Americans who died in the most recent war in Iran. In addition, since World War I, there are still 80,811 POWs and MIAs still unaccounted for. These are service members who died, but their remains were never able to be brought home. Can you even imagine how devastating this is for a family? If it were possible, I would read every single name, because each one was a precious life, and each one left behind a wide circle of family and friends who miss them terribly. What is possible, though, is to read the names of those from Abington who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. And in some cases, where information and history are available, you'll also hear a brief description of how the person died. Keep in mind as you listen to these names that this list is a work in progress. There are a lot of details and history to sift through regarding the lives and deaths of these brave men. Some of the information we have about those from our town who were killed in action is easy to find and easy to understand. But for others, especially the further back in history we go, circumstances are much harder to discern. One thing I've learned through my research is that there are several different classifications used for people who die while wearing the uniform of our country. First and foremost, we are gathered here to remember those killed in action. This means that the person died during combat or as a direct result of enemy action on a battlefield. Another similar classification is died of wounds, which refers to a person wounded in combat but who died later in a medical facility. Then there is the classification missing in action, and this refers to a person who disappeared in battle with no confirmed death or capture. Typical in the case of those missing in action is that after a set period with no evidence of survival, a person is reclassified as killed in action. Occasionally, their remains are deemed unrecoverable. Often alongside missing in action, you'll often hear prisoner of war. People who are prisoners of war do sometimes survive and return home alive. When they don't, they are classified as died in captivity while prisoner of war. And finally, there is the classification non-combat death, which refers to a death due to accident, illness, or non-combat circumstance while in active service. Today, I've also included the designation Purple Heart for those who received it. A service member who's received a Purple Heart has been injured in combat in some physical way. Some people who receive the Purple Heart survive, although they likely live with scars, physical, emotional, spiritual, and psychological. For our list today, the Purple Hearts were received posthumously. And just a note that during World War I, soldiers who were wounded in combat did not receive the Purple Heart itself because the medal did not yet exist. Instead, wounded U.S. service members often received wound chevrons, small uniform insignia showing combat wounds, or other citations for bravery or service. The Purple Heart was revived in 1932, inspired by the older badge of military merit created by George Washington during the American Revolution. When the medal was created, it could be awarded retroactively to veterans wounded in World War I. So as I read the roll call of the war dead, you will sometimes hear these classifications. And as I said, this is a work in progress, and I will continue to research to uncover as much information as possible about each of these heroic men. If you'd like to know more about any or all of the people we name here today, you can read about them on our town's website. Now, we will read the names of Abington's killed in action. We call this the roll call of the war dead. World War I. Second Lieutenant Edgar D. Bascom, age 26, killed in action at Beaulieu-Bois, awarded the Silver Star and Purple Heart. Chester Lawrence Belcher, age 20, died of disease. Sergeant First Class Walter W. Coleman, age 26, died of disease. Sergeant Fred Henry Cook, age 32, died of a gunshot wound inflicted by an insane soldier. Lloyd Everett Crossman, age 19. Louis Vincent Dorsey, age 25, killed in action in the En Marne offensive, received divisional citation and recommended for Military Cross, awarded the Purple Heart. Corporal Robert B. English, age 29, killed in action in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, awarded the Purple Heart. Henry Chester Hurst, age 21, died of disease in the Panama Canal Zone. John Joseph Mahoney, age 28, killed in action in Charlevoix, in the Charlevoix Ravine during a battle in the Argonne Forest, awarded the Purple Heart. United States Navy Fireman, 3rd Class, Joseph Dennis Telesphore Martin, Jr., age 22, died of disease. Charles Edward Murphy, age 22, died from wounds received in action in the Was-En Offensive in France, awarded the Purple Heart. Charles S. Myers, age 23, killed in action near Vaux, France, awarded the Purple Heart. Myron Franklin Stewart, United States Marine Corps, age 29, died of disease. Sergeant Harold Leonard Taylor, age 23, died of disease in France. Shirley Sampson Thayer, age 28, died of disease. George Louis Worth, age 28, died of disease at Souilly, France. World War II. Charles Handel Bellows, Jr., age 20, killed in action, awarded the Purple Heart. Wendell Everett Chamberlain, age 19, killed in action in Germany, awarded the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart. Private First Class Lloyd Robert Clapp, age 25, killed in action at Okinawa, Japan, awarded the Purple Heart. John Aeneas Colburn, United States Navy, age 36. George Wilfred Coleman, age 28, killed in a plane crash near Hawaii in the Pacific. Edmund G. Crossley, age 21, killed in action. Elton Ernest Ekstrom, age 26, killed in action in Germany. George S. Forsyth, age 43. United States Marine Corps Captain Roy Erland Yelm, age 24, served in 7 major combats and was killed in action at Iwo Jima, awarded the Purple Heart. Wellington Jameson, age 22, killed in action in France, awarded the Purple Heart. United States Navy Seaman 2nd Class John Paul Keeley, age 26, missing in action and later declared lost at Okinawa when the USS Pringle was sunk by enemy fire, remains deemed unrecoverable, awarded the Purple Heart. Clifford Ronald Kimber, United States Coast Guard, age 17, killed in action during the invasion of the Solomon Islands in the South Pacific, remains deemed unrecoverable, awarded the Purple Heart. Richard Leo McHugh, United States Marine Corps, age 17, killed in action in the invasion of Guam in the South Pacific, awarded the Purple Heart. Harold Robert McGeck, age 23, killed in action, awarded the Purple Heart. Colonel John F. Monahan, chaplain, United States Army, age 56. Harold Robert Olson, age 21, killed in a bomber crash. Technician 5th grade John Irving Plummer, age 30, died from injuries he incurred during his service overseas. Private First Class Russell Francis Pierce, age 21, died from complications to wounds received while serving his country. John Rice, United States Marine Corps, age 21, killed in action in an airplane crash. Frank Otis Warner, Jr., age 23, killed in the fall of a naval bomber, awarded the Purple Heart. Korea. Marine Lance Corporal Gerald Lee Pattison, age 20, died from injuries sustained in a car crash while on duty in Arizona. Vietnam. Specialist 5th Class Dennis K. Adley, United States Army, age 19. Air Force Major Peter Bugby Christensen, age 39, killed in action in Laos. Staff Sergeant Richard Allen Fitz, Special Forces, age 22, killed in action in Laos, listed as missing in action, body not recovered until 1989, awarded the Purple Heart. Specialist 4th Class Richard Francis Glinowitz, age 21, killed in action at Quang Ngai, Vietnam, awarded the Purple Heart. Army Private 1st Class Glenn Raymond Gordon, age 20, killed in action in Binh Duong, Vietnam, awarded the Purple Heart. Marine Corps Private 1st Class Ralph Gerald Hamlin Jr., age 20, killed in action in Quang Nam, Vietnam, awarded the Purple Heart. Army Specialist 4th Class Ernest Hammond Laidler, age 20, killed in Long Khan while serving as a door gunner on a military aircraft which collided with another aircraft in midair, then crashed and burned. Awarded the Purple Heart. Jeffrey Arnold Phipps, age 21, died in service to his country in Washington State as the result of a construction accident. Afghanistan. Marine Corps Sergeant Daniel M. Vasilian, age 27, killed in action while conducting combat operations in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. He was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star Medal with Combat Distinguishing Device, awarded the Purple Heart.
Color guard, hut 10, hut. Right shoulder, arms. Color guard, prepare to render salute.
Detail, change.
Order, arms.
Home. Right, face. Ready, aim, fire. Fire. Home. Left, face. Present, home.
Order, arms.
Home.
And now may you, today and every day, carry with you the love of our war dead, the deep and abiding love that gave everything for you and for me. In the name of peace, let us join together and say, Amen. This concludes our ceremony here today. Thank you again, all of you, for coming out to be with us.